Okay, this is actually the third time I've tried to record this game, and I'm irritated at YouTube for putting the 10-minute time limit on the videos. I've applied for a director's account, and I can't get it because I don't have enough channel views. So tell all your friends to check out my videos, and hopefully I can get enough views that I can apply for a director's account, and I can start making a little bit longer videos. But for now, I'm stuck with 10-minute timer, so here we go. I had a Semi-Slav today. It's a really instructive game. Tactically, it was kind of fun in the middle with the rooks, and then the end game is really important here. So I'm going to show it to you. Pretty general finagling around the king here. He's fighting over the c3 square here. We go ahead and trade. I'm not going to spend any time on this stuff. I could describe it all, but it's straightforward and nothing really matters. Offered a queen trade. He declined. So I go ahead and castle. I kept my queen on an open diagonal here. I thought it was better than playing it back, and keeps pressure out here on the knight. And I try to play some tactics that might win a pawn here. You can see if he doesn't move his knight, and I take it with the bishop, he retakes with the pawn, and then my queen wins the pawn there. My opponent's not an idiot. He sees it. Doesn't want to give away any free pawns. So here I start looking for lines where I can force material trade. I like my pawn structure on the queen side. I like the fact that my pieces are more well placed on the queen side. My rook on f1 is ready to come over to the queen side as well. And so here we go. You can see he's moving to the king side thinking that's where the action's going to be, and I'm going to make sure that the action stays on the queen side. The trading here is pretty much forced. If he doesn't do it, I'll do it instead. Either way, we're going to trade. And now you can see everything's back on the queen side, and he's got to hurry back to the queen side. I've doubled up on the b7 pawn, and this is a good place to be in for me. And I have forced lines to win pawns here, no matter what he does. He defends with his rook and b6 here, threatening 3 pawns at once here: the a6, the b7, and then the e6 pawn as well. He needs to defend the pawn here on e6 with his king, and then you can see I can just win this pawn here because his b7 pawn is pinned. If he takes here, then I win the rook. He doesn't want to do that. Now he's winning a rook as well, but I'm able to pick up a pawn in the meanwhile, and then I'll probably snap off that loose a pawn pretty soon as well. So my opponent, rather than trading rooks, decided to try and keep them on the board, and I renewed my attack here. Now here I decided to go ahead, even though I'm wasting moves here, I decided to go ahead and push his king back. And then first I played f5 here, or f4. I wanted to keep him from playing e5. I didn't like that. I wanted to keep this pawn where it was, so I was planning on winning it. And then I was going to double up my rooks. Here, what I should have done probably is gone ahead and doubled my rooks up here on the 6th rank. But instead, I went ahead and played it back here, and I just wanted to make my opponent decide what to do. And I had an idea here. I wanted to play the pawn move c6. And this creates some complications for him. He didn't see it before he made his pawn move on the H file. You can see here I'm threatening his rook, and I'm threatening this pawn. I have a lot of options for how I can take here. One is to take the pawn here, but then that allows him to take the c3 pawn. I don't really like those lines. They still win for white. It's okay. I decided to be a little bit more direct and just go ahead and take with my rook on b7. I know the computer will probably tell you there's better lines here. I'm not terribly concerned with that. Usually when I'm up a pawn or two, I'm pretty happy with running with my pawn advantage and winning king and pawn endgames. Here I neglected to I thought I was going to maintain this pawn. I realized afterwards, after he moved his king to d6, that I was going to lose it. And it was pretty obvious. I should have thought about it, but it's okay. Central is my king. I'm still up a pawn here. This is still a 1 king and pawn endgame for white. It should be an easy win. As long as you know your king and pawn endgames and you studied, it should be an easy win. You'll see how I throw away a win here. First idea is to protect the extra pawn that I have on c3, and I play king to d2 to do so, and then I can maneuver my pawns in such a way to create a passed pawn on the king side. Basically, the trick is to sacrifice 2 pawns to create a passed pawn and to win that way. You can see that no matter what his king does over here to attack the c3 pawn, he can't ever add a second attack to it. I'm never going to let him, and he should never be able to win it. I could leave my king right here for all of eternity. He'll never be able to win this pawn. A couple of options here. One, he could just take, and we could trade, and I can work my my magic that way. For the sake of time, I'm going to move on and show you what he did play. He played e5, and I'm happy to trade pawns down here. And then, okay, here we go. I'm going to use my 3-2 pawn majority on the king side to win here. Okay, right here, there's one move that is an easy win for white. The move here, if you don't know it, is g5. Basically, you sacrifice a pawn, then you push to h6, and you sacrifice another pawn. If he doesn't take, I can queen with that pawn. He has to take, and now you see I've got a pass pawn. And if he tries to race me, look what happens. There's actually a checkmate here. So there's nothing black can do at this point if I just played g5. If you can try and come up with any other options, you're not going to find anything. If he doesn't take, if he declines and plays a king move or something, I can take. And now again, if he doesn't take, I just run. He has to take. This pawn is still free. He can't catch it. Well, okay, let's take a look at this. He actually can catch it if he tries. But he can't catch both. After d takes c4, I can play here. If he wants to run over and take that pawn, I can take this one. And this is still a win for white. Probably d5 here. And you can see he can't keep defending that pawn. He'll have to come over here. I got another free pawn. White's good here. Anyways, what I did is I knew I had to sacrifice these two pawns, or any two pawns here, and I knew that the middle one had to be sacrificed, but I just got lazy and picked up the f pawn first. And after he took it, I was like, wait a second, this doesn't work anymore, because now if I tried this one, he can take here, and my pawn is frozen. It's not passed anymore. I was real disappointed in myself when I realized I threw away a win, and now I'm stuck with a draw. So, oops, got to go backwards here. Okay. So I knew I had a draw at this point, and here's where I threw away the draw and gave up a win for black. The correct move here is to play back to b2. And then when he steps in, to reclaim the opposition on c2. If you don't know opposition, you need to go study it. The best place to do so, I think, is Jeremy Silman's Endgame book. But you can also just look it up on the online someplace, and all sorts of help for that. King and pawn endgames are super important, as you can see. So let me show you the blunder. After this, I went right back to c2 like an idiot. And now black has the opposition. And no matter which way my king goes, he can step in and win some pawns. And obviously I've lost the game here. Black claims the queening square. Nothing I can do to stop him. And he's going to win, so I've resigned here. So again, it's real disappointing to lose a game that I had won. To give up a win and then to give up a draw. Two major blunders. And it's really sad to lose rating points on mistakes like this, because tactically I was doing really well in the middle. But this is why it's important to study your king and pawn endgames, and rook and pawn endgames as well. So go study opposition. Go study, there's a concept called the fox and the chicken coop. Go study that and understand how to win your king and pawn endgames when you're a pawn up. And also study your rook and pawn endgames like the Lucena position and Philidor position and things like that. It's real important. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something from it, and keep an eye out. I'll post